Bitcoin is back over 100,000, and the Q2 forecast needs to be revised because $120,000 is too little. So here come exciting infos and what Donald Trump thinks about Jerome Powell, because the interest rate decision by the Fed Reserve was yesterday. All this and much more in the video. Hey, welcome to the Crypto Howl. I have to laugh a bit because everything that's happening right now is crazy, and you'll probably think again that I'm saying the same thing as always, but it can't be helped. Pay attention. We start with the update and we dive right into it. Namely, Bitcoin is scratching at 100,000, but it might break through this 100,000 within the next few hours, maybe even a day or two. Why? I'll explain to you. Now, because the thumbnail says 100,000, but it's not even at 100,000. What is he explaining, or what is he talking about again? Yes, and we just have to take a look. We see that Bitcoin has climbed again in the last few hours. We are in the hourly chart. In the 4-hour chart, it looks like this. Why and how is quickly explained again, because Donald Trump posted something again, and everyone says, yes, now he's talking about Donald Trump again. But what am I supposed to do? The moment he posts something, you can see a drastic reaction in the Bitcoin chart. Anyone who, doesn't believe it should check our Telegram group, because that's exactly where I posted this tweet, and shortly after the Bitcoin chart, and that's when the green candle appeared. What am I supposed to do? I can't do anything about it either. It just is what it is. And that's exactly why the Bitcoin chart went up again. A major deal with a large trading nation is on the horizon. Yes, that was the result an hour ago. We'll get into what came out of it in a moment. In any case, we can see here that Bitcoin broke out afterwards, and there was a small drop, and the stocks in the futures, meaning overnight, reacted positively, started positively, and have now fallen. We'll delve into why and how in just a moment. Let's briefly look at the entire crypto market, where we can also see that within the last 7 days, almost 10%, 8.26, it was a bit more at one point, because they are currently experiencing a small setback just like Bitcoin. We can see here that it's almost down by 1% again. We also see that companies have reacted positively. We'll also cover in this video why and how. And otherwise, we don't really see any major outliers, at least here in the top 40. The mood is neutral, as we've already mentioned. Everything is very relaxed. Let's look at the market capitalization, and then we also see that everything is actually running positively, but there's no hype phase. However, in general, we see steep prices. It's high in my neutral cycle, and we are moving out of the Bitcoin season. Why? How come? Also simply explained, because the others can finally catch up a bit. We see here 8% firm, 2.3% Bitcoin, and others with 5%, XLP with 3.5. So we're moving a bit out of this Bitcoin area. Yes, that was this update. So tomorrow 10 a.m. That's already over by now. It's almost 12 a.m. now. And of course, we want to see what has come out of it. First, we'll clarify the question in the market update. How does it reach 100,000? I also shared that with you in our Telegram group. If you're not there yet, feel free to join. You can find the link below. Remember the Rose task? It's a small spam protection. You need to complete it briefly, fill out the task just below all this introductory text, and then you can write. The Chicago exchange, the CME, has already traded Bitcoin over 100,000. We can see that here if we enlarge the picture a bit. Doesn't work. All right, we have to do it this way. Zoom in. Bitcoin has already been traded over 100,000 and even a bit more there. And that's actually to be expected when it's traded on the futures exchange, that the spot platforms, whether it's the crypto exchanges or even the ETFs, will follow with this price. That means one actually expects these $100,000 to be present in the exchanges. Now, there was this setback. We'll get into that shortly. And this, yes, will be recovered, but I strongly assume that we will see the 100,000 within the next 1 or 2 days. Let's remember today is Thursday. Friday is coming. Friday always depends a bit on how the market closes. So Friday evening for us. And then the big question is, will we go into the weekend positively or negatively? And that depends a bit on it. Otherwise, it will probably be at the beginning of next week. But I assume that the $100,000 will come relatively quickly. Yes, then of course, there's the discussion about which major trading nation Donald Trump will make the deal with. I haven't looked up my answer here, but I've been asked by the Telegram group, what does that mean according to your interpretation? I wrote that the market is hoping for an agreement with China and is reacting positively. We saw a green candle after such an announcement. I don't think it's an agreement with China. Then someone else wrote UK or India, and in the end, it wasn't a big surprise that it turned out to be the UK. So a deal with Great Britain or the United Kingdom. And this is the announcement. It's showing here that a comprehensive deal between the United States and Great Britain is being solidified for many years with an agreement. So we see here that the whole thing is and remains interesting. That was the post again. So when exactly this breakout was, this big one, so that it can also be tracked over time. Bitcoin then shoots up to $98,000 after this announcement. Now it has only become Great Britain. And in the end, Great Britain was not the market's expectation. So we are now seeing this little setback, both in the SPX or stocks, but also in Bitcoin. Here we are even better in the hourly chart. This setback is currently visible. So not China as expected, which would have been even more positive, but at least it's Great Britain. Yes, exactly, that's how it looks. Then a forecast. Standard Chartered, or at least one of its analysts, has predicted that Bitcoin will rise to $120,000 within the second quarter. The block trainer has highlighted this again, or rather the block trainer team. And it was then said that this target is far too low. So the analyst says, he states that this target, where he mentions 120,000 in Q2, considering Q2 is the 4th, 5th, and 6th months, so April, May, June. We are already in the second quarter, and he says that $120,000 is too little for his analysis. Now we are back at the point where one must be honest, and honestly, it's just this old stock market saying, and I am still full of hope, saying maybe we have seen the summer slump early with this whole Donald Trump thing, and in the summer, if we experience a surprise, there will be more trading than we think. You never know. But the old saying goes, you sell in May and go away. But remember, come back in September, the famous summer slump, and sell in May. Go away, but don't forget to come back in September. The famous summer slump with a really nice saying. But one must also be honest, it usually only happens at the end of May. That means we still have 2 or 3 weeks where something might happen, and then this saying could take effect. But to be honest, the last 2 months have already been very quiet. Was that perhaps the early summer slump? It remains exciting. Yes, and it also remains exciting with the topic of interest rates, but after a short intermission. ZoomX has a really amazing offer. Not only do you get additional bonuses with the link in the video description, but you also get a bonus on your deposit. So that means you just deposit money at ZoomX, for example, USDT. And then you get an incredible bonus, which can be up to $100,000 or per user. Amazing stuff. And that's 100% cash back on the first deposit. So that means you sign up at ZoomX. Unfortunately, this only applies to new users or already registered users who haven't made a deposit yet. You make your first deposit with a large amount. Let's say you deposit $1,000, then you get $1,000 back as a future bonus. Is that something for you? Then check out ZoomX, because you can buy and trade cryptocurrencies conveniently at ZoomX. ZoomX is the official crypto exchange partner of the Haas Formula 1 team. With their partner on Ramper, you can easily deposit euros or other currencies via credit card, bank transfer, and other options, and directly receive Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies here. Buy and sell conveniently through their spot trading in the various cryptocurrencies they offer. For future traders, this exchange offers a lot as they have a wide selection of cryptocurrencies, including some that are not listed on spot. So futures offer a lot here, with leverage up to 150 on the various cryptocurrencies. And you can even trade Coin M, meaning you can go long on Bitcoin with Bitcoin. And worldwide traders are also active here, where you can copy trades through copy trading. Has that piqued your interest? Then use the link in the pinned comment or video description to receive additional bonuses with our partner, ZoomX. Briefly back to the topic of Bitcoin 100,000. There's now another watch party from Bitcoin Magazine. There are almost 57,000 people currently live at this watch party. Isn't it crazy what's happening there again? That's intense. In any case, I just quoted Bitcoin to go, meaning Mirko, because I simply say there's nothing to add to what Mirko has written here. Interest rate cuts, or rather an interest rate meeting and a press conference from the Federal Reserve. So were there any interest rate cuts? No, there weren't any. No end to QT, increased risk of inflation, increased risk of unemployment, but basically wait and see. That's basically everything. Yes, and the motto remains wait and see. There's nothing more to add to that. I just looked that up and said what more can be said on this topic. Many might have hoped a little for an interest rate cut, but in the end, there wasn't one. Yes, and of course, there's someone who really wants an interest rate cut. Ah, yes, that would be Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, of course, commented on this and said that Jerome Powell is a fool, which is the harmless translation into German, a fool. It can be translated a bit more harshly. Too late, Jerome Powell is a fool who has no idea. Bam. That's pretty intense. Otherwise, I really like that oil and energy prices have dropped significantly. Almost all costs, guano, food, and eggs have decreased. Eggs were a big topic in the USA. If you haven't heard about it, Google it. Crazy situation. And we couldn't help from Europe because you can't just send eggs over by plane. So there were actually stores that had no eggs, a crazy topic that was happening. Oli Khan would have said, yeah, they don't have any guts there, right? Practically no inflation, customs revenues are flowing in the USA, the exact opposite of too late. Have fun. So it's crazy. It's crazy. And it was to be expected that there would be a reaction from Donald Trump. And this reaction, was clear. Of course, he hits back again. Jerome Powell, bam. Actually, he doesn't really want to boot him out. I'm not even sure, can Donald Trump just fire Jerome Powell like that? I think he can, but it's not easy. And so far, he hasn't yet commented or on, wanting to fire him. At least there was a statement that he actually wants to keep him in office. I'm curious to see how this all unfolds. We are definitely monitoring this with these update videos. Because honestly, it might not be about which cryptocurrency to invest in, but it's an overview so that you might not say, wow, what's going on here right now, or I have to follow this or that, but rather I give you an overview of what's currently happening in the USA, purely in the financial market, which also affects the crypto market. So crazy stuff. Now we come to the topic of Ethereum. Ethereum has risen by 8% and Bitcoin only 2 or 3. Hello? Hello? Ethereum is performing better. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. At least that's what Ash Crypto says. So Ethereum is significantly surpassing Bitcoin percentage-wise, I say directly. Let's take a closer look at that. This means that utility altcoins will explode very soon. Okay. That's really a typical crypto influencer who might favor Ethereum more than Bitcoin. Whether you want to call me a crypto influencer or not is up to you. But I think, no, I'm not that exaggerated type who makes such thumbnails. Instead, I tell you how it is, and I'm quite honest. It's interesting to see that they have risen better percentage-wise. But that also has to do with the fact that they have new financial resources. I thought it had a name. That they are providing new financial resources, specifically $32.65 million to educate the community, to expand the community, support education, ZK proofs, and the growth of the ecosystem. So there were new financial resources here. They naturally had a positive effect, and there was an update, specifically some complex fork. Don't ask me what. I didn't really follow it, to be honest. And they posted this picture. Yes, there was a fork here, and it was complicated, and we thank the entire team that worked on it. Yes, and company people and Bitcoin people don't get along, and a Bitcoiner, definitely a Bitcoiner, namely Michael Sutton, commented on it. Interesting. Does it really take so many people to implement a historical and complex hard fork? Honestly, I love such jabs, such nasty comments, and let's be honest, yes, you can rightfully say that. Look at how many people are there. Just think about it. The hard forks at Casper, there are never that many people working on it. And in the Bitcoin network, there are never that many people working on a fork at the same time. There are usually fewer. So, yes, I love memes, crypto memes. I also love such teasing. It has to happen sometimes. Yes, I did say that. It is being outperformed percentage-wise, Bitcoin to Ethereum. But one must also be realistic. And someone from the block trainer team, namely Tristan, has written down the truth here again. And that is simply the truth. On December 5th, 2024, when Bitcoin climbed over $100,000 for the first time, Ethereum was around, let's generously round up, $4,000. Now on May 8th, when Bitcoin is once again nearing $100,000, Ethereum is, and let's round up, okay, at $2,000. That means about 50% less within 5 months. One has to think about that. Within 5 months or 6 months? Yes. In any case, it's crazy. It has halved. And just because it now performs better percentage-wise, people then see Ash Crypto, I actually like him, he makes good tweets, but then it's totally exaggerated again. Hey, they're outperforming Bitcoin, Ethereum, the killer, the Bitcoin killer. Yeah, I don't know. It's exaggerated. And this exaggeration is often such that only small chart frames or percentages are taken, and not the big picture. The big picture is to zoom out and look at the chart more closely. We often do that here in the videos as well. Yeah, and I would never say that Bitcoin outperforms a company. That's why I shared it in our Telegram group, but I provided the source so that it's clear it didn't come from me. So let's be honest. It's exciting to observe again right now. Also, maybe a brief comment on that. I don't want to go into it in detail, but we have this conflict in India and Pakistan. But we've also seen that these initial attacks from both sides haven't really affected the damage. So anyone who followed it at night, that was the night before last. The chart didn't move at all. There was some message from Donald Trump, or was it some message, it was here? No, I need the 4-hour chart somewhere here. Some message came, then this green candle appeared. Is it this here? Yes, here. One could say it led to this because one really has to say this conflict between Pakistan and India is dangerous for everyone in the world. These are two nuclear powers and they can really overdo it. And also many Western countries as well as Russia and China are all involved. Even though China and Russia are actually together in BRICS, they still provide some assistance to Pakistan. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't even want to go into it, but a good point. It hasn't really influenced crypto, to be quite honest. And I also believe that peace between Ukraine and Russia would influence the chart more than an escalating conflict between Pakistan and India. But I'm very curious. I can also be convinced or surprised by a better argument. Feel free to share your opinion on this whole topic. Donald Trump, head of reserve. Bitcoin $100,000. Woohoo. At least on the futures at the CME. But that will definitely also appear on the spot chart. Then all these topics with the analyst saying $120,000 in Q2. That was far too little. Actually, I should say $200,000, which is further in the text, where I then say, $200,000 in Q2. That would be by the end of June. Bitcoin still needs to pick up the pace. In any case, write your opinion in the comments. I say thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.